Hello, my dear friend. I'm so excited you're here with me today. It's like we're sitting together on a cozy blanket under a big, shady tree, ready to share a wonderful story. Listening to stories in English is like a magic key. It helps your brain learn new words, makes your ears better at understanding, and makes you stronger at speaking and reading. Every time you listen, you're growing, and I'm so proud of you for trying. I'm here to help you, and we're going to have so much fun on this journey. So let's dive into a beautiful long story that will warm your heart and keep you smiling. In a tiny village next to a huge forest, there lived a girl named Lila. She was 10 years old, with shiny brown eyes and a smile that made everyone happy. Her hair was long and black, tied in a braid that bounced when she walked. Lila was kind and loved to help people. She would carry water for her neighbors or pick flowers to make her mother smile. But now, Lila wasn't smiling. Her mother, who she loved more than anything, was very sick. Lila's mother was the heart of their little home. Every night, she sat by Lila's bed and sang soft songs about stars and rivers. She told stories about brave children who fought dragons or found hidden treasures. Those stories made Lila feel safe, like nothing bad could ever happen. But for weeks, her mother had been too weak to sing or talk. She stayed in bed, her face pale, her eyes closed. Leela sat by her side every day, holding her hand, hoping she would get better. One evening, the village doctor came to their house. He was an old man with a kind face and a big bag full of bottles and herbs. He looked at Leela's mother, checked her forehead, and shook his head. Leela, he said in a quiet voice, there is only one thing that can help your mother. It's called the golden flower. It grows far away in the forest, but it's very hard to find. The forest is big, with dark paths and wild animals. It's not easy to go there. Lila's heart felt heavy, like a stone. She looked at her mother, who was sleeping, and said, I will find that flower, Mama. I will bring it back for you. The next morning, Leela woke up before the sun. The sky was still dark, with tiny stars twinkling like fireflies. She put on her favorite blue jacket, which was old and a little small, but she loved it because her mother made it. She wore her shoes, which had holes in the toes, but they were soft and comfortable. She went to the kitchen and packed a small cloth bag. Inside, she put a round loaf of bread her mother had baked last week, a shiny red apple, and a bottle of water from the village well. She also took a tiny wooden bird her mother carved for her when she was 5. The bird was small, with smooth wings and a little beak. Lila always kept it in her pocket. You'll keep me safe, she said to the bird, holding it in her hand. Then she opened the door and stepped outside. The village was quiet, the houses were dark, and the only sound was the soft chirping of crickets. The air was cold, and Lila could see her breath in little clouds. She looked at the forest in the distance. It was huge, with trees so tall they seemed to touch the sky. Lila felt a little scared, but she thought of her mother's smile. I can do this, she whispered. She took a deep breath and started walking. The forest was like a different world. The trees were giant, with thick trunks and leaves that made a green roof above her. The ground was soft with moss, and the air smelled like fresh dirt and flowers. Lila followed a small path that twisted through the trees. She heard birds singing happy songs, and she saw squirrels jumping from branch to branch. At first, the forest felt friendly. She saw little yellow flowers growing by the path and butterflies fluttering in the air. Lila smiled and felt strong. I'm going to find that flower, she said. But as she walked farther, the forest changed. The trees grew closer together, and the sunlight couldn't reach the ground. The path became narrow and bumpy, with roots sticking out. It was dark, and the air felt cold. Lila's heart started to beat faster. She heard strange sounds, like twigs snapping or leaves rustling. She held the wooden bird tightly in her pocket. Don't be scared, she told herself. Mama needs me. After walking for a long time, Lila heard a new sound. It was a soft, sad cry, like a puppy whimpering. She stopped and listened carefully. The sound came from behind a big tree with rough bark. Lila walked slowly, her shoes crunching on dry leaves. She peeked around the tree and saw a small fox. Its fur was red like the color of a sunset, and its eyes were big and shiny. but its leg was caught in a metal trap. The trap was old and rusty, and the fox looked scared. It was shaking, and its cries made Lila's heart hurt. Lila knelt down on the ground. "Don't be afraid, little fox," she said in a soft voice. She moved slowly so the fox wouldn't panic. The trap looked heavy, and Lila wasn't sure how to open it. She looked around and saw a strong stick on the ground. She picked it up and used it to push the trap. It was hard, and her hands got sore, but she didn't stop. She pushed and pulled until the trap opened with a loud snap. The fox jumped free, shaking its leg. It looked at Lila and wagged its tail, like it was saying thank you. The fox ran a few steps and then stopped. It turned back and looked at Lila with its bright eyes. Lila tilted her head. "Do you want me to follow you?" she asked. The fox wagged its tail again and ran a little farther, then stopped to look back. Lila smiled. "Okay, I'll come with you," she said. She felt happy to have a friend in the big, scary forest. Lila and the fox walked together. The path took them over a small wooden bridge. Under the bridge, a stream flowed with clear water that sparkled in the sunlight. Lila wanted to stop and dip her hands in the water, but the fox kept going. They climbed over big rocks that were smooth and slippery. Lila's shoes got muddy, and her legs felt tired. She walked through tall grass that tickled her hands. Sometimes the path disappeared, and Lila had to push through bushes. Thorns scratched her arms, but she didn't complain. She thought of her mother and kept going. After a while, Lila's stomach growled. She was hungry. She sat on a flat rock and opened her bag. She took out her apple and broke it in half. "Here, little fox," she said, giving one piece to the fox. The fox sniffed it and ate it quickly. Lila laughed. "You like apples," she said. She ate her half and drank some water. The fox sat close to her, and Lila felt like they were already friends. "We're going to find that flower together," she said. The forest was full of beautiful things. One time, they passed a big open place where flowers grew everywhere. There were red flowers, yellow flowers, blue flowers, and pink flowers. They smelled so sweet, like candy. Lila wanted to pick some for her mother, but the fox didn't stop. It ran ahead, looking back at Lila. "You know where the golden flower is, don't you?" Lila asked. The fox's tail moved, like it was saying yes. Lila trusted the fox and kept following. They walked for hours. Lila's feet hurt and her bag felt heavy. The sun was high in the sky now and she was hot. She started to feel worried. What if they never found the flower? What if she got lost? But every time she felt scared, she looked at the fox. Its red fur and bright eyes made her feel brave again. "We can do this," she told the fox. Finally, after a very long time, the fox stopped. They were in a big open place in the forest. The trees made a circle, and sunlight poured in like a warm blanket. The grass was soft and green, and in the middle of the open place was one golden flower. It was small, with petals that glowed like tiny pieces of the sun. It looked magical, like something from a fairy tale. Lila's eyes got big, and her heart felt full. "We found it," she said. She knelt down and touched the flower gently. She thought of her mother's face and smiled. Carefully, she picked the flower and wrapped it in her scarf. "I'm going to save you, Mama," she whispered. But then there was a loud noise. It was a big growl like a storm coming. Lila looked up and saw a huge bear standing at the edge of the open place. Its fur was dark brown and its eyes looked angry. It was so big that the ground shook when it stepped forward. Lila's heart beat so fast she thought it would jump out of her chest. She wanted to run, but her legs felt like they were stuck. The fox jumped in front of her and barked at the bear. It was so small compared to the bear, but it was very brave. Lila was scared, but she remembered a story her mother told her about a girl who talked to a wolf. "Kindness can make even a big heart soft," her mother said. Lila took a big breath and tried to stay calm. She looked at the bear and spoke in a soft, shaky voice. "Hello, Mr. Bear," she said. "I'm not here to hurt you or your forest. I need this flower to help my mother. She's very sick. Please let me take it home to her." The bear stopped moving. It looked at Lila with its big, dark eyes. The fox kept barking, but Lila touched its head gently. "It's okay," she said to the fox. She looked at the bear again. "I promise I won't take anything else. Just this one flower. Please." The bear stared at her for a long time. Lila's hands were shaking, but she didn't look away. Finally, the bear made a soft noise, like a huff. It turned around and walked back into the trees. Lila's body felt weak, like she could fall down. She hugged the fox tightly. "You're so brave," she said. "Thank you for helping me." Lila and the fox started walking back to the village. The forest didn't feel so scary anymore. The sunlight came through the trees, making everything look soft and golden. Lila held the golden flower carefully in her scarf. She thought about her mother and felt hope in her heart. But the way back was long. Her feet were sore and her arms were tired from carrying her bag. She stopped by a small stream to rest. The water was cool and clear, and Lila splashed some on her face. She sat on a rock and took out her bread. She broke it into 2 pieces and gave one to the fox. They ate together, and the fox sat close to her. Lila looked at the water and said, "We're almost home, little fox. We did something very big today." The sun was setting when they reached the village. The sky was painted with orange, pink, and purple colors. The air was cool, and Lila could smell bread baking in someone's house. She ran to the doctor's house and knocked on the door. The doctor opened it and saw the golden flower in Lila's hands. "You found it," he said, his eyes wide. "You're a brave girl, Lila." He took the flower and went to his table. He crushed the petals into a fine powder and mixed it with water to make a special tea. "Give this to your mother," he said, handing Lila a small cup. Lila ran home as fast as she could. Her mother was still in bed, her eyes closed. Lila sat beside her and held her hand. "Mama, I found the flower," she said softly. She helped her mother drink the tea, holding the cup to her lips. At first, nothing happened. Lila felt worried. She held her mother's hand tightly and waited. The fox sat by her feet, looking up at her with its bright eyes. Lila took out the wooden bird and held it in her hand. "Please work," she whispered. Lila stayed by her mother's side all night. She didn't sleep. She watched her mother's face, hoping for a sign. The fox curled up next to her, its warm fur against her leg. Lila felt tired, but she didn't give up. She kept whispering, "Get better, Mama. I love you." When the sun rose, Lila heard a soft voice. "Lila," her mother said. Lila opened her eyes and saw her mother looking at her. Her face wasn't so pale anymore, and her eyes were bright. She smiled, and Lila's heart felt like it was flying. "Mama," she cried. She hugged her mother so tightly, tears falling down her cheeks. "I love you," she said. Her mother hugged her back and said, "My brave girl, you saved me." Every day after that, Lila's mother got stronger. At first, she could only sit up in bed. Then she started walking around the house. Soon she was outside, sitting in the sun with Lila. She sang songs again, and Lila sang with her. They told stories together, laughing like they used to. The whole village heard about Lila's journey. People brought her flowers and bread, calling her a hero. But Lila didn't feel like a hero. She was just happy to have her mother back. The fox never left Lila. Every morning it came to her house, wagging its tail. Lila named it Ember because its fur was red like a fire. Ember and Lila played in the fields, chasing butterflies and rolling in the grass. They ran through the village, making everyone smile. Sometimes they sat by the forest, watching the sunset. Lila would talk to Ember, telling it about her day. The fox would listen, its eyes bright and kind. Lila learned many things from her journey. She learned that being brave means doing something even when you're scared. She learned that kindness can make even a big bear listen. She learned that love for someone can make you stronger than you ever thought you could be. Every night when she went to bed, she held the wooden bird and thought about her adventure. She felt proud and happy. One warm evening, Lila and her mother sat outside their house. The sky was full of stars, twinkling like tiny lanterns. Lila's mother held her hand. "You saved me, Lila," she said. Lila shook her head. "No, Mama. Your stories and songs made me brave. You saved me first." They hugged, and the stars seemed to shine brighter, like they were happy too. I hope this story filled your heart with joy, my friend. Lila's adventure shows us that love, kindness, and bravery can do amazing things, even when life feels hard. If you love this story, please subscribe to my channel. I'll share a new story every day to help you practice English and grow stronger. Press the bell icon so you never miss a video. You're doing so well, and I believe in you with all my heart. Let's keep learning together and speak English with confidence. I'm always here, cheering for you.